video. You guys are new, welcome. If not, welcome back. I love y'all. Everyone say hello, Dashi. Hello, Dashi. Commenting, liking, subscribing is a free way to help support the channel. Non-free ways are Patreon and smashing that super thanks down below. Super chats as well. Also, Raythax.eth domain name and oi, eh? Not sure why I have to say that. If you want something on the whiteboard, let me know. So I'm doing something a little different today. I am going to be streaming from the phone and then we'll be listening to Spaces on the tablet because the tablet has a better speaker. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the tablet. I'm going to go and we're going to join the space. Yeah, start listening. Oh, there be music. All right, so as of right now, it looks like Veve Digital Collectibles is hosting and co-hosting is Alex Gonzalez. Other people here are Kyle Willson, Non-Fun Wonderful, Athena Crypto Baby, Scott Hoddle, Reese.eth, Akomi Reese. Then we have Johnny Dunn, the Todd Father, Wendy Lopez, aka Wen Supergirl, Omi-Wan Kenobi, Claire is here as well. We also have On My Way to Fill Your Bags, Superstar Money, True Talk Junkie, Skeet, we love Skeet, Dark Link, we love Dark Link as well. David Donaldson is there, Wet Wizard, love Wet Wizard. Phil Nice, Some Girl Brittany's here, Danny DeBole, Kiko Vivi, Mindy is here, Sailor's Dad, Ed, Granis on Prime, Sody Pop, Eddie Brown, Rudy, Omar, Sarah, Run the Gems, Aldous Havley, Fun Under the Sun, Crypto Knight, Flickerbits, Zach Arakomi, Nathan, Ethan Youngberg. Oh, I got a heart from Dan Schaubel. Where's he at? I'll give him a heart as well. Give that man a heart. Did it send? I don't think the heart sent. Oh no. Oh, it did. It did send to Dan Schaubel. Okay, cool beans. So I will request to speak. I don't know what. Yeah, I mean, I might as well request to speak. See what happens. But it will take some comments, obviously, as well. Solo says, let's get this bread. Randy Chavez says, Tesla Inc. Is down 0.44% today. We just still got about another hour-ish to go, give or take. So we'll see how that ends at the end of the day, see how that compares to the markets. Commons Zero says, Randonite, what up? Duck and Cover says, evening all, evening. I'll lower that volume a little bit. Duck and Cover says, ready for some excitement. Who's excited? Dutch Homie says, let's go. I love this game. Justin says, oh, yeah. Inferno says, howdy. Hope all are well. Hope you're well also. Jason Lawrence says, what's up, Randy? From Los Angeles City Fire Department. Ooh, ooh. Okay, no, we still got the music on here. Duncan Cover says, I want you to put Lovely Jubbly on the board. Bob Sales will love it. Trust me. Super chat me 10 doll hairs for the week, and you could have it. And you'll be the last one to have something on the board until next week, and then it'll go up to 20 doll hairs because clearly there's a lot of demand. All right, so Reese is also co-hosting as well. Shout out to Reese. So I guess on Veve, Mitch is going to be Veve. I guess someone will hand it off to him. I thought Old Rhubarb was going to host and then Mitch would come up here, but I haven't seen Mitch over on Twitter. I'm not even sure if he has a Twitter. So he might just be Veve Digital Collectibles signing into the Twitter if he knows how to use it. Also Rewind Collective just posted on their Discord saying, hey everyone, as we promised before, holders from phase 1 will get an airdrop of 2 pixelated heroes, and new buyers will benefit. 1 + 1 = 3 as well. Wishing you a Merry Christmas, celebrating. Oh, huzzah to them. Lex Friedman tweeting that he'll never give in to criticism or cynicism. Love that for him. All right, where are we at here, peeps? Where are we at? Boom, 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 boom. We waiting. MZA says, hey, Randy, greetings from Finland. Oh, hello, good sir. Howdy from Finland. All right, I'm going to see if I can move some of my stuff in my drawer here. With this shirt. I don't even know what that shirt is. Some of this that way. Oh, yeah, I don't even have to hold it. It do be a little warm with this on. Going. Yeah. Okay, there we go.
That's a new fancy background music feature on Twitter, I take it? That was
I might really speak cool. Flickerbits. I might.
That was not me.
I'll probably get one question.
Not me. I know I'm usually the guy who plays the music in the intro. but no, I think that's a built-in feature. Shout out to Ryan holding it down behind the Veve handle. I'm Alex Gonzalez. I'm marketing here at Veve Digital Collectibles. On stage with me today, we have Reese Skellern, communications manager, etc., communications director. What are we calling you now?
There is Mitch Mack.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Mitch Mack.
All right.
That's who we.
And of course, the reason why we're all here today, our new product director, Mitch Mack. Mitch, how the heck are you?
Hello. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Let me know if you could hear us.
Yeah, I know. You're basically throwing you to the wolves here. But it's okay. The Veve fam is very nice, and I'm sure they'll treat you.
Oh, they've been wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I'm really, really, really excited to be here. And I'm really excited to kind of engage with everybody.
Excellent.
Frank Kozik
So
here too.
I guess maybe to get started here.
Oh, Frank Kozik in the house.
Been on for just over a month or so at this point. I know you kind of were doing your onboarding on a part-time basis a couple months ago, and then you're fully on board now. Tell us a little bit about your background in product development, product management, where you came from, and like where you're based. And, basically the 101 on Mr. Mitch.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'm based in New Zealand. Same and co-located with Legal Dave, Dan, and David. Although they're traveling a lot of the time, kind of bouncing in and out of the country. From a background point of view, I've spent the last 12 odd years of my career specifically in media. 10 of which I've spent working at or in one of New Zealand's largest digital publications that was spanning both Australia and locally now in New Zealand. So a lot of that has been based in product. In fact, the entire background over the last decade or so has been really focused on creating digital products for audiences primarily.
Got it. And what? How did you learn about Veve and what drew you to the role?
Oh, this was a very incredible story. I've kind of, on the surface level, looking at where Veve is and who Veve are, I wasn't really aware of Veve up until only about 6 months ago, when Stuff actually wrote a story about the digital media company that I was working for. I actually wrote a story about Veve, and that's when I started to get to know it. And it wasn't until maybe about 3 months or 4 months ago, prior to this, when Veve were engaging a digital consultancy to kind of help us out with various components of our business strategy, that I was kind of rang my old an acquaintance quite a while ago actually rang me and said, hey, you should come and meet these guys. Let's sit down and have a chat. And, Bob's your uncle. And here we are after quite an arduous interview process, but a fun one nonetheless.
That's awesome. And so were you aware of David and Dan at all? And just kind of how the story of how they brought the company to fruition essentially before you started the interview process, or did you, through that article that you mentioned, is that kind of generally how you were aware of the guys?
Oh, so when I was reading the article, these two guys just came across as those two most down-to-earth individuals that you'll ever meet. And I thought, that was maybe a persona that they're putting on for the media, you know what I mean? But subsequently, having met them quite a few times during the interview process, it turns out that they are not just down to earth, they're super low-key. So, these guys, both Dan and David, don't really go out seeking the attention. They are just doing what they love. And that was what really drew me to the entire project, was because you've got these two very passionate individuals that were looking to try and build a project and a product for an underserved community, really, in the digital space. And that was, it came through very clearly that they were looking to do something quite different. And over the course of maybe 3 or 4 interviews, it slowly wore down my kind of reservations about the space in itself, particularly given what's happening in the world right now with the world economy and all that type of stuff. It was an interesting kind of decision-making process on my side when I decided that, hey, if there's a better time to take a risk, there's no better time to take a risk. Spent 10 years doing the same kind of thing for a little bit. Now it's probably time for a change. And, this is probably it. liked the two guys, and they were really forthcoming with where they wanted to take Veve and what they wanted to do with it, and I thought it could help.
Awesome, right on. Well, I think obviously, as you know, part of the engine that makes this thing go is the community, right? The community is very passionate and involved in everything that we do, but especially, here in these, bear market time, kind of down market situations, I'd say the community has largely stuck together and made it easier for us to engage with them, whether that be through events or spaces like these, which we'll try to do more of. And generally, we had moved away from spaces to the kind of recorded video format for the updates and things like that because of David and Dan's busy schedule. But I thought it was really a cool opportunity to get people to introduce to you, since you are touching so much of what the community uses on a day-to-day basis, right? And the requests that they have. And I think, one of the things that challenges, I think, that you're stepping into here, it's a blessing as well, is just how passionate that community is and how much more they're familiar with even in the ins and outs of the product. Let's say even me, that I'm not in it every day, right? Like I don't trade on the market, for instance, and there's certain nuances about the market that the community, I rely on the community to inform me about if something's wrong or something, there's a bug or something like that. I think one of the first things you've done as you came on, and you can talk a little bit more about this, is start to put a little more processes in place on how we kind of glean user feedback. And one of the things that we've done just recently is starting to put out what we were just by default referring to as the advisory panel. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you've done, consumer feedback in the past and how you use it to inform your product development cycles and roadmap, et cetera, and what the goal ultimately is for the advisory panel?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I go right back and say that, in my years of working in product and engaging customers or people that use the products that we're creating, I've never met a more incredible and a more passionate bunch of people like the Veve community. When something goes wrong or when something goes right, you'll hear about it on Twitter. And so prior to this space, the interview that we're doing now, I've actually been very quietly just watching Twitter and the feeds and the communications that go on there for insight and for information about what's going on and how in the community itself and how the community are reacting to the things that we're pushing out from a code point of view. So in my experience, community feedback and engagement with the community and the people that use your product the most is absolutely paramount. Our jobs as product we're really custodians of products. We don't own the product overall. We're custodians that balance between what the business needs and what the community requirements are. So we're not talking to the community because we talk to the business all the time. If we're not talking to the community, we're not going to be able to get a very important part of the entire process when it comes to road mapping. What's important to people, right? So setting up the advisory panel was one of the first things that I said to David and Dan that we need to be able to do, because not only do we want to glean almost like passive communication and passive information to Twitter feeds and to general communications, we also want to sit people down and have a really honest conversation with them that sometimes might not be feasible in an open social forum. I've done many of these before, and each time I've learned something incredibly new. There are the odd ends here where you get someone coming in and going, "Oh, I hate the product. I'm just here to tell you how much I hate it." And and I sit there and I go, "You know what? Thank you very much. The feedback that we're going to get from you is going to help us create better products, and hopefully, the persona like yours, where you actually don't like the product, our challenge is to turn you around. And if we can do a little bit of that, because of the feedback that we've gleaned from you, then, I take that as a win." But it's always a double-edged process, right? Where you have to come in there completely unattached to the conversation that's happening, because if you come in there listening to the conversations and you're getting emotional, you're getting, defensive about what's being said, I think that defeats the purpose overall. So we try to keep an agnostic approach when we go into those panels and we're listening to our users, because the feedback is very valuable to us.
Got it. And just for everybody's information, I know there has been a few rounds of invites that have gone out thus far. Just kind of trying to phase it out so that we can process the results and get out the necessary documentation and then do interviews, etc. But what is ongoing from here? How do we see this rolling out, and can anybody take part?
Yeah, that's the idea. Right now, we're in its infancy. So we're trying to create processes, like I said before, like you mentioned before, that allow us to scale with the community. Because as you can imagine, this Twitter space that we're doing right now, you posted something on Twitter last couple of days ago, and I don't know how many people are in here, but it's probably the largest audience that I've spoken to in my entire career, and that was 24 hours notice. If we're just being very cautious that we're not overloading and kind of over-promising something and then under-delivering the experience. What we want to be able to do is to work with, a smaller group of people first, and then be able to establish a proper cadence and a proper process to be able to scale the entire engagement process out to as many people as possible. So from here, what we're looking to do is create not just one customer advisory panel, but use a panel and have different segments of users or Veve, the community, come through, identify the specific types of personas, so that we can actually sit down and speak to people that, I'm not the 100 plus or 300 plus collector at this stage, but actually at the beginning of their collection journey. And we like to understand the full spectrum, right? Because the requirements from a person that has, 100 to 600 collectibles right now is going to be very different from the requirements of somebody that has 5 collectibles or 10 collectibles, or actually are on the fence about this whole digital collectibles journey. So we really want to sit down and discuss that across all spectrums, and then attempt to gather the feedback and balance out how we would then roadmap features that will enable us to kind of encourage usage, or to encourage our communities across these various spectrums to engage more with Veve and to build the right products for them.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's awesome to hear. I know even the folks that are the third party that's helping us can vet the responses, because surveys are even sent a message this morning like, I've never seen this kind of passionate response from these first couple of rounds. So yeah, it's
quite incredible.
Yeah, it just speaks to how early we are, and everybody in the community who really just wants the best product possible for us all to use. And I think that's a great thing. And I think the more that we can, glean knowledge and sentiment from the community in these types of ways, I think just ultimately the better the product will be.
100%.
Yeah, and you talked a little bit about processes and scaling. Let's go into the meat of product management and product development from your standpoint. What kinds of things? I know generally the product updates that we've got to date have been from Dan in either like an AMA or a community update video, etc. We're essentially giving estimates or quarterly priorities in which things we're working towards. And I will say, and I'm sure Dan would also agree, that we haven't been great with timelines, right? And a lot of that is just due to communication or certain things come up that need fixing in priority to other new features, etc. But what are some of the processes that you're building into the product management cycles, like AKA sprints or anything like that, that's going to help us better manage expectations for the community and for those of us internally?
I think it's a fantastic question. I'd start off by saying, need to give a quick shout out to the development teams and the technology teams behind Veve, right? Like, these guys are incredible. Just like the Veve community and the Veve fam are so passionate about the product and the project in itself, these developers are probably on the equal footing with the community. They're supercharged and super pumped to deliver value to our customers and to our licensors as well as our communities. And sometimes, when you're coming from where VVs come from, where I don't even know how to say this. I've worked with a few startups in my career as well. And I've never seen the adoption rate of a new product in market like this ever. So I guess, the learnings from this is as Veve starts to grow, the team are adapting. They are a good team, but they do need time to kind of figure out how these processes and these development cycles are going to work to meet the demands of the community and to meet the demands of the business overall. Like I said earlier, I think the job of product at this stage is to bring calm and also to bring a sense of logic when it comes to prioritization. Now, sometimes that comes through as, some timeline slipping, because in the background, there may be things that are vitally important that need to get done that, close off exposure to things like fraud and to things like security risk that is at the forefront of what we do. I mean, these collectibles are digital assets ultimately, and they are worth a lot to people. So what we want to make sure that we're doing is putting the security component and the emphasis on making sure that our platform is stable and our platform is secure. And guys, I can honestly say that I've also never seen the amount of bad actors that we've seen in my short amount of time here, because people are always looking to export things like this across everything that we do. So what we've been doing over the last couple of months is really helping the team understand why it is important to work in a kind of structured and established manner. And the objective of that is to establish a degree of delivery cadence, right? So our objective right now is to make sure that we understand how much the team can deliver in a specific amount of time. So establishing a 2-week sprint cycle, for example, and then subsequently a release cycle right off the back of the sprint cycle. So the team are learning and understanding now that it is immensely important to be able to understand what they can do from an estimates point of view, so that we can ultimately manage the communications to the Veve fam and to the community around when things can be expected. Our intentions are absolutely pure in that we're absolutely trying to deliver value, not just to the business, but importantly to all of you. And while we have tried to do that to the best of our abilities, I will admit that nothing is perfect at this stage. And what we're trying to do is to ensure that there is a cadence set in order for us to build that credibility and to build that trust back with the community, to ensure that you guys are able to trust us when we say, hey, something is going to be delivered, or even, I go so far as to say, understand why maybe some things might be slipping in the background, because we've had to kind of pivot the team to do something vitally important and critical to the delivery roadmap to ensure security.
Right. And so that's a good point to make, in that, how do we prioritize? I think, well, you probably just answered, but prioritizing like new features over bugs and security issues, right? And that it's always going to err on the side of caution. It's always going to follow what we would consider any kind of user experience impediment, whether that's a bug or things that may affect the security of the platform or the assets. Because at the end of the day, that's the bread and butter, right? We're all here for these collectibles because we have emotional and monetary connection to them. And so anytime something may move, in favor of security or bugs, I guess that's probably just important to note to the community that it's never a matter of us deprioritizing something because we didn't think it was important. But what is your vision for like communicating timelines, or should we be communicating timelines and the processes behind some of these release cycles moving forward?
We absolutely should be communicating timelines. We should be communicating clearly, and we should be communicating as transparently as we can. The caveat that I put on that is that whatever we are communicating is always our best intention possible, right? When it comes to feature versus bugs, I'll give everyone an idea about how we do this. So a feature is always something that will take up the bulk of the development capacity and effort for the teams themselves. Bugs will be groomed in based on what is most important at the time of sprint planning. So when we plan, we're always going to provision a degree of capacity from the team to address some of the more pressing issues, but are not like, immediate issues that are arising as a result of us finding bugs or as a result of community feedback. So let's put the kind of ratio at 80-20 or 90-10, where 90% of the effort will be focused on delivering value in terms of features back to the community, and 10% will always be focused on addressing some of the more painful bugs or usability issues that we've seen across the application on a day-to-day. There are times where some of these bugs and some of these issues turn out to be much larger in terms of effort than we anticipated, and therefore the capacity for feature development actually gets eroded in favor of addressing some of these usability issues. So there are times where it goes from 90-10 to 80-20, and then it goes to 70-30, depending on the size of the bug or the size of the issue that we're dealing with. So in those times, because it happens on the day-to-day, we're not often at the liberty, we don't often have the luxury of communication to the community on a consistent day-to-day basis. And I don't think that should happen either. But for example, if we've communicated that we're trying to get something out by the end of November or by the end of December, that is our absolute intention. But in between, when we set those were the timelines and when we actually hit the end of December, a whole bunch of stuff like that could have happened in the background that has pivoted the team's attention away from the delivery of the feature in itself. Our jobs at the moment is to try and minimize that and to try and ensure that the team understands that the focus on the delivery of this value back to the community is of the utmost importance. And therefore, while some things might be, a few months ago where some things might be just prioritized because it's a bug immediately that we've seen come through Twitter that we need to address and it's easy, might not be prioritized in this way moving forward, because each time you spend doing a small change to a small bug, it takes up time overall.
Got it. Okay, that's good to know. I think generally, obviously, today being December 19th, which was the date we were all kind of pointing to for the next product release cycle, to include a few of the key things that people have been looking forward to for a long time, which was merge accounts, crypto pay-in, MCP, etc. Was it before or after I sent a joke about MCP being delayed, did you decide that you were going to delay MCP?
Okay,
because
so
I hope you make me look really bad out here in these Veve streets.
I know, and I apologize for that. And that's the first thing I'd say. Alex, I hope you understand that I didn't do that on purpose. I actually tried to communicate this as early as I possibly could. But to your credit, I think you took that on really nicely when I said, we might be slipping here a little bit. But some context for everybody is, as part of our challenge and our approach and our intent to deliver development cadence and to kind of build the credibility with the community and to build that trust and transparency with the community, we have been actively kind of pushing the development effort on releasing code as quickly as possible, right? So I'll come back to the slip in a little bit. I just want to make sure that everyone here kind of understands what we've been doing in the background over the last couple of weeks. So since, November, we have done 3 development deployments. So there was 2.3 version 4 release, 2.3 version 5 release, and 2.3 version 6 release that happened last week. There will be a 2.3 version 7 release coming out this week overall. Now these releases are the fact that we've done 3 releases in a short amount of time is a very good example of how the teams are adapting to this new cadence. And the objective of us releasing this consistently is because we're trying to make sure that the strengthening mechanisms or the foundational mechanisms for the new features that we will be pushing out in the coming weeks are established really, really well. So platform stability is absolutely paramount, because we can release a feature and something goes down because we didn't take the time to establish the right foundation, and everyone will lose as a result of that, right? So over the last few weeks, we've been pushing out these releases quite consistently to establish this working base and to establish to stabilize the core of the platform so that it is able to handle the load. It is able to handle the various things and new behaviors and new use cases that will come off the back of these new releases coming through. So having said that, what we're doing at the moment is that we are preparing for a gradual rollout of both merge accounts and crypto pay-ins over the next couple of weeks. The reason why it's gradual is because merge accounts is a new feature and it dabbles in quite a few different back-end mechanisms that require us to ensure that they are going to work. It is going to be reliable, and people's collectibles are going to be transferred reliably across the board. So the intention at this stage is for us to make sure that those functions work, they are safe, they are secure, and that you are going to get the outcome that we have originally set for, which is merging the accounts and being able to be utilize crypto to pay in. I understand that, we've been talking about these features for quite a while, but I do want to make sure that I point out and admit the fact that, this is taking a bit longer than we anticipated, but we are absolutely dedicated and resolved to actually getting these features out there to the community. So what you will see is a gradual rollout of crypto pay-ins across various territories, the lower risk territories first. When I say lower risk, and that's fraud risk territories first, and then subsequently followed by a managed kind of groups of users for merge accounts to ensure that, we're able to deliver the things that merge accounts needs to deliver. Now I'll come back to the slip of MCP. So these components are things that we're focused on and are going to deliver value to our customers. MCP, like Dan said earlier, was meant to be rolled out by the end of this year. We are slipping on that by a factor of weeks, not months. And we have slipped because there are things that have come in, as I mentioned before, that have taken up quite a degree of capacity of the team to address. There are security issues, there are stability issues in the platform that we have noticed over the last couple of weeks that would not be good if we did not address it overall. So what we're looking to do is address those first so that we prepare the right runway for when MCP lands in the coming weeks. It will be stable and you will be able to use it.
Got it. Okay. So again, to reiterate, it's a matter of weeks and not months. We're not talking end of Q1 or Q2 or anything like that, right?
No. It's a matter of weeks at this stage. And I can say that with a degree of certainty because the team actually have said that we need to get this out. We've promised we want to get this out. And I was the one that said, oh, yes, we do. But this other piece is actually a little bit more important and we need to pivot to that ahead of MCP. And we understand that the community is going to be unhappy, but we're hoping that the community understands that we're doing these things with, we're applying as much of a logical approach to this as possible, knowing that we do not want to disappoint everybody.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, look, it is disappointing.
Justin Keenan, send me a message on Twitter.
Folks understand for the reasons you just covered that, the security and performance is paramount in these things.
They said MCP was delayed. They didn't say merging was delayed, but I imagine everything is delayed by a month or two.
Small feat, right? And calculating daily points on a 100.
And again, when he says delayed by weeks, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 6 weeks, it could be 12 weeks. But we should get most everything by Q1 of next year.
Okay, so matter of weeks. Okay, well, we'll work towards that and we'll look to you for updates as we get closer. But for all of those who are not aware, we do have articles on the blog covering the merge accounts process as well as crypto pay-in process. The release candidate master collector program article has been live for some time and all of that still holds. But yeah, we'll have more updates as we go, hopefully on the back end of the holidays. Okay, let's talk about then, when bugs come up or performance issues, security issues, etc. How those types of things are addressed. What is your vision for how we should be covering these things? Obviously, we've had a few things come up lately that, even I don't have the answers to, because I'm not as close to the product as you, right? I'm the marketing guy. But it's important that I think, not only, it is not only important for us to be communicating this internally, but externally, so that everybody's on the same page and there's not different information coming from different endpoints, which, to be honest with you, has been a little bit of a problem. And I'm to blame for that in some regards. And I think just generally, we all try to move fast and fix things and not necessarily communicate them in the best way possible. So can you talk a little bit about how we look to, gain some of this trust back and with credibility with the community by addressing issues, especially on some of the more recent things like, what's being dubbed as a shadow ban that I've seen a lot of people complain about, or the remaining additions field, for instance, disappearing. Airdrops have been very problematic for us as of late. Can you just talk a little bit about how we clean this kind of stuff up moving forward?
Yeah, so I'd start off by saying, these are very natural teething issues with a business like Veve, coming in and being able to reach the amount of people that Veve currently reaches and engages with. These issues are relatively normal when it comes to a company that has suddenly discovered, a whole bunch of very loyal users and highly engaged users that are using the platform on a consistent basis, right? So our jobs at the moment is to ensure that we're able to talk internally, like me and you, for example, establish an open line of communication where we can tell you that, there are certain issues coming up, or we can say, hey, look, we're not going to be able to get to this one as quickly as we would have liked, but, we'll get to it by this day. So that cadence that I talked about before is very, very important, because we're able to give everybody, whether it is, an external view to the community or an internal view to our own stakeholders, of what can happen inside what timeline. Some of the bigger issues that we've seen at the moment, are part of those growing pains that we're seeing. Things that should be automated are still somewhat manual, which is very normal, and we're trying to automate them. And as a result, sometimes human errors do occur. And it is unfortunate for us that, the occurrences of these errors were relatively back-to-back at this point in time when it comes to things like airdrops. So our processes in the background, until we can automate them, needs to be tightened up. And that's what we're doing at this stage. We are sitting down with the various kind of team members that are helping us achieve these outcomes, such as airdrops, and saying, hey, how do we help you make less, how do we help this process be less manual? And how do we help the process by reducing the amount of manual things that can lead to more mistakes? So we're sitting down with our teams and sitting down and saying, hey, how did these things happen? And then understanding them and working a process through in the interim to ensure the minimization of mistakes across the board. When it comes to things like our remaining additions fields, that is, again, comes back down to the development growing pains in the instance where certain requirements were, I think, misinterpreted, and subsequently actually led to us pushing out code that affected that particular field of data. So what we need to do there is really strengthen our QA process and strengthen our ability to detect these things before they hit production and before they go out to the hands of the Veve community overall. When it comes to bots, that is an ongoing battle. And when it comes to fraud, it is an ongoing battle for us. And it takes, and I'll be honest, that component there takes up the bulk of the effort. And it is almost like real time. So we're monitoring activity in the background that can help us identify bad actors. We have automation pieces in place that will help us very quickly react to some of these actors. But because they're so prevalent and there's so many of them, some of them are going to get through. And it is just a matter of time before we start kind of getting better tools and more capability across that space but they do lead to unfortunate outcomes, like the issue that we saw with the Battlestar Galactica airdrop. That was actually caused by a bad actor, more so than it being an issue on our side.
Yeah, so just to kind of summarize that issue, because I know it's ongoing discussion within the community, and obviously I went on record in saying in a Twitter space that the solution was not going to be just minting more, and obviously we've done that, but that's not the end of the solution, right? We're not just calling it a day and we decided that, hey, why not just make more? Because that's not actually the solution, right? But people were promised that particular collectible, so we wanted to get people that collectible for collecting and holding the set as promised. We are looking, as mentioned in the tweet earlier today, that we realize that increasing the edition size is not ideal, so we're discussing further correction. And when we say further correction, that means there's going to be something else that we have to discuss with the licensor to see if we can't get maybe whatever what happens to be. And again, I'm probably going to speak out of turn here, but like if we get another collectible or a full set of emblems or something to make sure that we make those folks whole who either bought an emblem off the market when they were supposed to be airdropped to complete a set, or with the hopes that they would be a certain rarity, and then the edition size doubled in size overnight. And really that was more about delivering what was originally promised, and then we're going back to the drawing board to see how we can improve or basically make good on what was supposed to be a reward for collecting. So just FYI, that's how that's going. And that was not the end of the solution. It's not the end of story by any means. So we appreciate your patience.
We'll be working on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, Mitch, I thank you so much for doing this. Obviously,
This better not be the end.
Some of it bummer news, but understood, right? And this is all part of ongoing growing pains with any tech company, especially one in as young as ours. But what I want to do is I want to give a few folks the opportunity just to kind of ask questions about
Can you hear from Reese?
Product development in general, as opposed to let's just maybe try to limit the whens. I think is probably not the forum for it, but I think we can touch on what your vision for the product is as a whole. So I'd love to hear some of those kind of questions. Let's go ahead and bring up a few folks here.
Ooh, Minnesota.
And bring some people up. I will get some questions for Mitch before we wrap up here.
Come on, I want to hear from Reese too.
Okay, Surfer Dude, how are you?
Oh, Surfer Dude is going before Minnesota.
Mute Surfer Dude.
Oh, they got Omi Slayer up there.
All right, well, figure it out. Oh no, he dropped. Minnesota. Hi, Minnesota.
Hey, Alex, how are you?
Minnesota.
Well, thank you.
Mitch, welcome to the community. I created a little something for you on my Twitter page. Hope you like it. But my question to you, my question to you is, what do you think is the single most biggest challenge holding you back from the timelines you guys have committed? Aside from what you mentioned, like what is the single most factor?
I think for me, it's really establishing that cadence with the team. Coming out of where Veve has come from in terms of the amount of the level of scale that Veve achieved. The team are, I guess, from what I've seen, are just in that space where they need a little guidance and they need a bit of support and structure in order to get to an established kind of almost machine-like cadence of delivery. So that is the behaviors that we need to embed within the team. And as I think everybody understands that embedding new behaviors and new processes do take a little bit of time. People do take time to adapt. And the interesting thing about Veve overall, in terms of where this development sits, is that people are all over the world. And there is no place where everyone is gathered like a traditional company would be. This is a true 2022 digital business where the individuals that are involved in the development teams are right across the world, and so working with different time zones and establishing good ways of working are some of the interesting challenges that we're facing at the moment. But they are good challenges because the teams are not just only ready for to pick up that challenge and ready for new ways of working, they actually want the change to happen.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that, Mitch. I one last question, and then I'll go back to listener. What are you most excited about?
Sorry, was that a cut off, or what am I most excited about?
Yeah, what are you most excited about for Veve? Yep.
The potential is limitless with Veve as a project. From what I can see, it has all the right ingredients to become what would be a global leading player and project in this space and perhaps even beyond. The question is whether or not we can realize that potential, and a lot of work. You can be sure that we are working, myself and Nesta, the CTO, and everybody, Alex, Reese, are working in the background to try and absolutely realize that potential overall.
All right, thanks, Minnesota. Let's see here, Sugar Shane.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm having trouble with my 2FA. Is that something y'all are gonna?
On the, are you on the web app or the
web app, and it won't work on either one of them.
Okay. So are you getting the 2FA? Sorry, go ahead, Mitch.
No, I'm just trying to figure out what kind of problem you're having at this stage. Is it that you are not able to access your account even though you've been inputting 2FAs that have been arriving in your inbox?
I'm not getting the 2FAs. I'm not getting 2FAs, so I can't even try. I can't even reset my password nor, try to.
Okay. Is that an app issue or is that a web app issue?
It's happening on both.
Okay. And how long have you had this issue?
It's been going on about, I'd say 4 to 6 months.
4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so that's unfortunate. Have you?
I have.
Alex. Oh, that's unfortunate. Next question, please.
But they don't.
All right.
So,
I think what we can do is maybe flick me a little private message and I can have a look at it for you. Because I myself have experienced the issue. We understand that there is a small kind of messaging issue with the 2FA in that failure once on the 2FA will actually just stop you from logging in for about an hour, and more retries resets that hour. So most of the time when 2FA fails and you can't get in, just wait for about an hour to 2, and then retry the 2FA and it should trigger. But yours seems like a little bit more of a
it's in depth
issue that we need to resolve.
And I'm not receiving the tweet. I mean the emails from whenever y'all have drops. My other email gets them, but
okay. I think I know what the issue is then, Mitch.
So what should I do, Alex? I don't know.
Yeah.
Can you send me a message?
Yeah, I'll send you a DM. Because you might be, for some reason, blocked in our email sending protocol. So let me just DM you real quick.
I really appreciate that, man. I really appreciate you having me up here, getting this worked out for me.
We'll try to get it worked out.
All right, thanks a lot.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on then. Thank you. Frank Kozik is on stage. Wow, how you doing, Frank?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hold on, I was asking Frank a question first.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Shout out to Veve that is on Telegram, and fuck you, Alex.
Who the fudge was that?
Okay. Yeah, good stuff. I figured there would be one, one or two of them.
So you don't pick on
randoms. We haven't done a space in a while, so okay, Frank, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. Enjoying the cold weather. So I have a couple of questions. I don't know if this is pertinent to exactly what Mitch's role is. So Mitch, you're just doing the deep macro sort of coding kind of stuff, or are you also involved in things like
Frank,
cadence of releases and developing coherent programs for us independent artists that license to Veve, so that we have a way to support the people that have bought our product? Because the issue I've been having is there was a bunch of releases about a year ago, and sort of not a lot of context to support the people that bought those collectibles in the interim. And, out on my own, I have no way to sort of support the product line because at one point, there was a speculative thing about like, maybe we can do this like breeding program. And I'm saying this because I've been getting hundreds and hundreds of DMs over the last few months. So I'm not complaining. I'm just clarifying for those people that keep DMing me. So, when things were a boom time and there was a lot of speculation, a lot of frenzy, like a few things were mentioned, like the possibility of a breeding program. And then, sort of subsequently heard from the company, no, that's not going to happen because I'm assuming there's a huge sort of coding issue behind a breeding program. But I'm starting to get a lot of flack that like I've been pumping it, even though I don't, that like I made false promises, right? When all I've been doing is trying to figure out what the company is doing. And it's getting a little tiresome. So my question is, going forward, is there going to be any like redress or address or any kind of like hard info when it concerns any of the individual artists, like what their program could possibly look like? Like I'm assuming you don't have an unlimited amount of drop slots, but I'm wondering, is there going to be some sort of coherent schedule that like consumer facing talk can go to and it actual would be somewhat factual, not just speculation that leads to a lot of fighting? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it broadly makes sense to me. To answer your earlier question, in my role at the moment, it's not just on the development cadence in itself. It's really about the product strategy across all of Veve, and that includes how we engage with our licensors. And not just about, it's about the licensors and it's about the Veve community. So on that front, we're working on developing what would be a more comprehensive product approach to the entire, all verticals of Veve. So the licensor vertical, our community vertical where we engage with users and get feedback, as well as our development vertical. So these three areas from our roadmap.
Because I mean, you understand my struggle. It's like
My struggle.
Because the character that you guys license from also exists in the physical realm with other companies, right? And it's been around for almost 20. Actually,
Jesus, Frank.
Is the 25th anniversary of the Labbit. And so the thing is, like,
that's 17,000 followers.
Kind of like coherent strategy. So I would I made a couple of tweets. In a sense, I probably overpromised and then
follows me
and took this statement of mine that wasn't an official statement, and then like claimed that now they've suffered problems because of it, and like I'm kind of getting all the shit for it. And so I want to make sure that going forward, I want to support my characters and my products in the context of it fully with Veve. But like, has this been a discussion in the rooms, like putting together a comprehensive interface with the individual licensors, such as myself or perhaps Jermaine Rogers, where we're not going to go out and say something stupid and fuck it up for everybody, but we're actually going to like say something that's real. And when can we say to keep interest in our products up, and therefore the value of them, right?
Yeah. And the short answer is yes, we are definitely thinking and kind of planning in that space. And this is a very opportune moment for me to kind of extend out. I would really like if I could sit down and have a chat with you about where some of these issues are and some of these pain points are, so that I can actually bake that into our product strategy and start to work on a program for the licensors based on feedback from yourself.
Dude, let's do it this afternoon. I run a large company that makes collectibles called Kid Robot. So, I know how all this works intimately. I've been doing it in the non-digital world for a long time. The digital world is a lot faster and people are a lot more thin-skinned. So I crave, working hand in hand with you and the community so that people feel that they invest in my characters and my art, like that it's a sound investment for them and something that's going to bring them some pleasure. So like anything you guys need, I'm here in my office at home all day long, and I like to know that. So yes, please, I would love to, and I think I also, since you're kind of new to some of these IPs, I may be able to provide you some information on why these artists are important, what they represent in the community, all that kind of stuff. So if you guys want that kind of feedback, just as part of a toolkit to help direct your teams, very happy to tell you whatever you want to know.
I think that would be infinitely useful. Frank. I really would appreciate that conversation. I'll try and line something up with you after this.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the pop culture collectibles thing for 30 years now, so I know a tad of it.
Fantastic. Thanks, Frank. Yeah, just further to that, I think.
So, Alex, I want you to understand, I'm not trying to bust anybody's balls here, because I've been switching a lot of DMs the last few days.
Jesus, Frank.
I know.
Leading up to this ring, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had discussions about this, and obviously, we're not the ones that set the drop schedule. But to Mitch's point, we also want to improve that communication.
But I'm just showing good faith to all of you that have been DMing me, accusing me of all this heinous shit. Okay, I just want you. So here it is. I laid it out. Okay, now it is what it is, and everybody can understand the situation. Okay, so I appreciate the time.
Thanks, Frank. Okay, let's move on to who was up here next?
Randy.
Please, do you know?
Give Randy a chance.
Rajiv, I think.
Okay.
Please.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for getting me up here.
I have so many questions. Just get Mitch on the podcast.
Yeah, first of all, Mitch, welcome to the Veve fam, and I think I think it's really great to hear some of the behind the scenes stuff and some.
Ooh, superstar money's up there.
From the team and you guys. I think it's something we very much need. So thank you for bringing that up here. My question was kind of around, for the last year and a half or two, in Veve, I've onboarded a lot of people from Asia as well. And, they're kind of disheartened sometimes because, the drop system, which has been the same for quite a while now.
So guys, I swear.
It favors certain regions, or maybe it doesn't favor some regions, because of just how
I swear,
it's built.
Asia's going to be
And
so
I know
happy
that
next
was built
year.
a long time ago. And so the solution for that was obviously the queue system, which is fantastic to hear. So I just wanted to know on your priority list, where does that system stand? Because we've been hearing about it for a while, and I know it's close, right? We've heard a lot about it recently, which is great. So I just wanted to understand, because it's important for people to think that they have a fair chance. Whether they get something or not, that's all right, I think. And that's something, for over a year, people have been looking for, especially in Asia and stuff. So I just wanted to know where that stands in your priority list, and, just what you think about that feature and how it's coming along.
So that wait list feature that you were talking about is very high, and it's actually almost as high as, I would say, with things like, MCP as well. So what you will see is that component will come through in the coming weeks, and I'm talking weeks because once we finish off the things that we need to do here, that will be the main focus that we'll be attempting to deliver, at least in the early part of January, early to mid part of January. That's where we're looking to kind of bring that in. Now, the caveat that I would put on that is, while the feature is or could be put into production, it is a matter of aligning the drops utilizing that feature as well. So, we could push it up tomorrow, for example, and we may not have a drop for a week. And that week would be the first utilization of that waitlist feature overall. So we understand how important it is for people that live in different areas of the globe, in terms of the wait times. So we are looking at that with a matter of priority. So this is where, for us, things like that are of the number one things that we need to get done at the moment. So it is high up there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man.
No worries.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, let's see here. Real quick, before we get to Superstar, we have a question from the Discord. This is about transfers. We get this question a lot, and we haven't had a great answer for it because of the implications in security and anti-money laundering, etc. Those are some of the things that one of the reasons why we removed it in the first place.
Yeah.
Can you speak to what types of things we're looking at to kind of help bring some level of that functionality back, if at all?
Yes, I can. A lot of these things are grounded in the same types of issues that we're seeing across the board when it comes to security and when it comes to, fraud and all that. That topic in particular, we are looking to try and engage third-party providers that specialize in machine-based fraud protection and machine-based fraud detection. And and we are working with them to develop, well, not so much develop, but we are looking to deploy and integrate with their capabilities to help enhance our detection and avoidance capability before we reintroduce these components and these features back into the community themselves. So, this is really about making sure that there are mechanisms in place to not stop everything, but stop the bulk of the bad actors coming through the platform.
Got it. Okay. All right. We have time for about 2 more here. I know, Mitch, you got to get back. We only slated an hour for this, so I appreciate our patience, and then appreciate everybody who requested, but we won't be able to get to everybody. That said, let's move on to It's Village. How are you, man?
Superstar was up first.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
It's Village.
My nature to
Nice.
Sorry.
That's a good man. He gets called on. He's like, no, he was up first. That's a good man. It's Village.
Hey, well, I mean, thanks for letting us up and being the second runner up there, but I expect nothing less, so it's all good. And of course, just about that comment before, sorry, you had to endure that. Of course, you're gonna come up in the spaces, make sure you got to be respectful at all times. The question I have, we've done a lot of talk recently about airdrops, the hot topic right now, but it's not the first time that we saw an airdrop not go as planned. Can you maybe give us some insight on the technical difficulties on why they tend to be, I guess, harder to issue? And then my follow-up question is, would Veve consider pausing airdrops going forward until that challenge has been overcome and tested?
Yeah, I can answer both questions actually. So from an insights point of view, as I mentioned earlier, I think the biggest problem that we have at this stage, and one of the biggest challenges that we have, is that the demand for new features and demand for the delivery of these new features outstrip the capacity of our development capability at this stage, right? So what that means is that in the interim, until we can get to it as part of our roadmap and as part of the delivery cadence that we're setting, a lot of things are manual, superstar. So that means that when there are increases in manual workflows, there tends to be an increase in, I guess, user-generated or actor-generated mistakes. And part of that is what we're looking to do is really automate that process and actually build capability that is less about processes and more about automated built systems to enable us to deliver these things, these airdrops, without the need for us to go through 17 to 18 different manual steps. So looking to reduce that with that capability. In terms of the pausing of the drops, we have talked about it, I'm going to be honest, in the background. And we are looking to review how these manual processes are done in the interim. We are doing that right now. In fact, we had a meeting about it a couple of days yesterday, and we're looking to understand at what point these processes could have failed and at what point we need to strengthen these processes in the interim until we can get a more software-oriented solution on it.
Okay, so then I guess the airdrops up to this point then have just been a manual exercise, which then it's not automated through coding, which is leading to errors.
No, there are elements of it that are automated. There are some things in there that needs to be provisioned for by a manual individual or team.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Village.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me up. Appreciate it. Mitch, glad to have you on board. I was kind of just following up with what Superstar was saying. We were talking in spaces this morning, and we had a couple ideas pop up, whether it was a banner at the top of your account, similar to how KYC was, that you click on, which then initiates the airdrop, or possible promo code being sent to your account, to your email, to be entered in, versus just the traditional go ahead and airdrop it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. And I think, Mitch, maybe you can expand on this question a bit more about notifications within the app environment in general, right? I think there's a lot of things that we rely almost solely on Twitter for to get information out. We're not would be much easier to communicate, I think, to the wide user base of people that use the app on a daily basis and might not be as active on Twitter, to let them know when certain issues or programs, incentives, etc., are coming up. Do we have plans in the roadmap for in-app notifications?
There are always plans in the roadmap, Alex.
Yeah.
It's a matter of what comes first, right?
Yeah.
So there is notifications planned, but there are also there's also another aspect of notifications that is quite important. So there is notifications which engage the community on, hey, come back to Veve because there's something cool happening here. But then there's also an element of in-app message distribution that we need to create as well. So it's Village. I think you're referring that to that component a little bit more than just notifications, because in-app distribution capability for messages will give us the ability to kind of tighten up that promo code delivery, where we can actually say, hey, this is specifically for you, or because you have done this and therefore that's why you're seeing this message. So these elements are planned in the roadmap. It's just a matter of time before we get to them. And I'm not gonna try and sugarcoat this by saying, oh look, we're gonna give you a timeline, but we have planned this in the roadmap. It's just been falling lower and lower down the priority queue, given the things that we have already promised to the community that we're absolutely dedicated to delivering. That's taking the priorities at this stage.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, because just a lot of people were just pretty quite upset this morning how, the edition size, they were expecting 500 and, we ended up, there now is a total size of 970. So we're just looking for some solution going forward to kind of, prevent this from happening again.
Yeah, and I'm going to echo the sentiment here in that it has been relatively, for us in the background, we're also going, oh my God, we can't believe this happening again. And for us, it's really, for me personally, it's about accountability, and I am saying to everybody in this space that we are accountable for things that we do, and as much as people might see this as an excuse or whatever it is, our job is to make sure that we're constantly improving on these processes, and we're constantly trying to deliver value back to the community in itself. So we're going to try and tighten that up in the interim until we can get a proper software solution in place.
Thank you, Mitch. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Village.
Thank you.
All right, we are a little bit over time. I need to respect Mitch's time and let him get back to work on shipping MCP within the next couple of weeks. Again, everybody, thank you for joining in. Sorry we couldn't get to all of the questions.
Damn you.
I want to thank Mitch for his time. We'll
Damn
hopefully
you.
have some level of this communication.
Why was Reese here? He didn't speak at all.
In real time, so that we have that open.
Give me Reese, damn it.
For questions and look for improvements.
I'll stay live and I'll
across the
go over
board,
things
and,
afterwards. But
communicating, timelines and technical releases, etc. We do understand your frustration about the delays. We 100% get that, and I think this it'll be worth it when it finally does come out. But we just ask for
Veve just tweeted
sure that we are shipping something that is not only
Coca-Cola truck
but is
from David's background.
Expect from the functionality. Mitch, any last words before we wrap up here and let you get on to your meeting?
Just one or two. I just want to say thanks again for being honest. Even the dude that shouted at us, I understand your frustration.
Heck that guy.
Thank you for being and coming to the spaces and having a good, honest conversation. I think we want to try and keep this up. We'll try and deliver some sort of mechanism where we can actually facilitate sessions like these moving forward as well, where it's open and it's transparent as possible. But the other thing I'd like to say is just bear with us a little bit longer. I know it's been frustrating. We are making sure that we're putting in the best practice possible to deliver things on time when we say we will. So hopefully you'll be able to see this in our actions. So I tend to try to stay away from talking about things as much and let actions speak louder than words. Over the coming weeks, you should see things start to flow a little bit better, releases happening a little bit quicker and in more regular cadences. So thanks again.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Thank you. Take care.
All right, space has ended. Okay, cool beans. I'm going to retweet that. I'm going to view the tweet. Okay, cool beans. So there's a lot to go over. I'm going to get back to some comments here. 2FA guy needs to submit a ticket and move on. Agreed, 100,000%. Like, I don't know why they don't vet these people before they bring them on. I don't know why. Like, we wasted how many precious minutes that Mitch did not have. Again, I'm going to try to get him on the podcast at some point. There's a lot of questions that just didn't get asked, which again, there's a lot of info that they had to give out. They had to know. So there's this guy that y'all will know, Sergio. Sergio's from the Facebook group. I think a lot of people are here from Facebook in general, and Sergio is an absolute asset, I think, on Facebook. Always very bullish, always keep. But the fact when Sergio goes and comments, major disappointment, MCP being delayed again, literally the most important feature the community has been asking for over the past 2 years. All right, we'll go over with this. Is it disappointing when they delay things? Sure. MCP being delayed again? Yeah, of course. Then he says, look, but he's not giving any timelines, not giving any reasons why. Like, as we know that we just listened to it, oh no, MCP was delayed by 2 weeks. It was delayed by a matter of weeks. And the reason that they're doing it is because, hey, if we release it now, there's going to be a lot of bugs. We want it to go really be in full swing and have 0 bugs when we release it. Sergio over here is not talking about any of that. Like, oh no, we have delayed by 2 weeks and we were given reasons why. Those were conspicuously absent in the comment. He's saying literally the most important feature the community has been asking for over the past 2 years. It is one of them. It is very debatable whether that's literally the most important or not. But I guess I understand the frustration. Mitch is also a much nicer guy than I am. I am not Anywho, let's move on here. Alex should thought to be livid, so I can understand it, but still on a space wouldn't DM Alex or something. Yeah, this is ridiculous. It's not. Yeah, no, that was not Frank. That Alex was a pro handling that, where he goes on and says "F you, Alex," shouting out the Veve Telegram bot chat, and then Alex just kicks him off. So shout out to Alex for being able to, get on the reins quickly and do that. But that guy makes new profiles every single day, usually having Pepe in it. You have your profile with Pepe in it, a good chance you're a troll. I'm just saying. But again, the reason why a lot of us are on the market every day and why we do these things is because Alex himself said that he's not in the market every day. He's not in this every day. He doesn't really know. He does have other stuff to do. So it is good that a lot of us that are in the market every day that do live and breathe this space. It's really good that we go and we keep Alex informed and the rest of the team because again, they have other things to do. So Omi Panda, hi, Darth Chaos is okay. Justin, what up? Darth Chaos is always bad. Yeah, there's always bad actors. Omi Panda says, yep, always one in the crowd. Thought I was going to say Doge to the moon. Anyone remember being a Stern head back in the day, listening to Howard Stern, and then you have people always running, like news reporters saying, Baba Booey! Anyone? No, just me. Might be showing my age with that one. Darth Chaos says, once a VV-verse, you can write your own script for breeding. Yeah, so Frank Kozik, it would have been much easier for Frank Kozik to go on and say, oh, hey, by the way, Veve hasn't gotten back to me yet, but there are still plans for Labbit breeding, and, just waiting for the okay from Veve to do that. He very well could have done that. I think it was probably not the best thing to air out some dirty laundry and be like, hey, I'm getting 100 DMs a day, which we all get that. Anyone who's big in the space. But it was nice of him to go and say, hey, let me help. He does have some experience, albeit not running a multi-billion-dollar company, but he does have some experience with doing some of the things that Veve wants to do. That could help a little bit. That it could be like, hey, he's offering your services, Veve. He didn't ask for money. Hey, you want to help with this? Use them. Like Lex Friedman going to Elon Musk saying, hey, let me try out being CEO. I'll be focused on just being the best engineer I can. I don't want a salary. Elon should probably take him up on that. When Veve has somebody like Frank Kozik, who does have over 17,000 followers on Twitter, fairly influential, people are very excited. People like you are here. Yes, Labbit breeding confirmed again. I think it would behoove Veve to go and take him up on that offer, considering he did not mention any salary. You definitely don't mind free labor, and you definitely don't mind free labor from someone that is as experienced and is as notable as Frank Kozik. So, actually, I gotta go and I have a space, or not a space. I have a live stream coming up with Queen Veve, Lori Brenner. She is, the Queen's Court. Y'all have seen her a million times in the past. Well, not really seen her. You guys have just been experiencing her voice and experiencing her voice over on the spaces. She'll be on the podcast in about 2 hours-ish. I'll just put Queen Veve. I'll just put Lori Brenner, aka Queen Veve on collectibles, investing, life, and more. I gotta be careful on how much space I use there. All right, so we're gonna go with the next question, Cal. Lab reading confirmed again. Yeah, and again, we might not even need Veve to do a lot of the stuff that we want to do or that Frank wants to do. A lot of it can be done just with scripting. It can just be done, I forget what language it is, Python, JavaScript, whatever, C++, being able to go in the Veveverse and just script that. Same thing with Earth 2. There's a lot of things that you're going to be able to do that you do not need the overall company for. So let me upload this thumbnail. Oh, that's not what I want. That is 100% not what I want. Okay, here we go. There we go. Apply. And she's going to be on at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, create that podcast. What was this? Veve needs to keep more frequent communication with artists. Having them complaining on space is not good. Yeah, agreed. But also, like, how many dozens of independent artists do we have, and how many of them want the attention of Veve? There's an episode of Gilmore Girls where Kirk is right front and center at Luke's diner. It's like, oh, I like this seat because I get a lot of FaceTime with the boss, and kind of same thing. How many people want to have a conversation with the workers and owners at Veve every single day? And not saying that you're always going to get David or Dan, but just somebody there, because again, David and Dan are both billionaires. They both have this multi-billion-dollar company, and they just can't. Everyone wants their attention 100%. Like, again, I've been working on stuff behind these scenes with a couple of, and it's just even things. Oh, hey, this thing that you said you wanted that's really important has to take a back seat, has to be put on the back burner for the dozens of other stuff that's super important. And it's not like, when David emails you and says, oh, hey, I have this person in the next room. It's not like they're showing off. They don't need to show off. They're just showing you your place in the grand scheme of things. Like, if I'm going to text a buddy of mine, says, oh, hey, do you have a minute for a call? It's like, well, actually, I'm with the owner of the Minnesota Twins, or I actually have, the ambassador to Singapore, in the next room. They're not showing off. They're just showing me where I stand in the grand scheme of things. So, again, we are little tiny cogs in the machine. Veve's that multi-billion-dollar business that is only going to grow, and our artists just have to. Maybe at some point they could hire one or two people as like as a liaison and be able to prioritize. Like in veterinary hospitals, you can go on and say receptionists are that first line of prioritization where somebody calls in and they should know, hey, what's an emergency? What needs to be seen right now? What can come in, be based on the schedule? What needs to go to an emergency room versus, oh, hey, it's probably okay. We can make your appointment out for a couple days from now or even a couple weeks from now. They should be able to have a liaison. Again, not right now, because they have a lot of other priorities that need to be done. But at some point, they probably should have a liaison going and saying, hey, I understand this priority. You want to get this done. And even if the want or somebody that comes in, has a complaint or some things that they want to do, and let's say it might make the company, $80,000, $100,000, $200,000 versus someone saying, hey, I have this great idea and that has the potential to make tens of millions of dollars. Guess what? That one has to come up front, because that bottom line to the company, the more money they can make, the better it is for everyone. And yeah, it sucks for the person. Like, let's say if I had an idea and it would make, $100K for Veve, but Dashi has an idea that would make 20 million. Okay, you have to prioritize Dashi. Like, that's just, and I feel like a lot of other people just really don't understand that. A lot of other people are just, they kind of want things right now. There's not a lot of delayed gratification. I don't mean to like just go on the artists and just take a poop on them. It just, when artists have really cool things that they want to do that other people would want to see, but they have DC and Disney breathing down their neck saying, hey, when can we do this? And they have Amar Singh, with Rewind Collective and Givenchy, and, there's never not going to be work to do for them. There's never not going to be these different types of places. And I hope that some of these artists understand that. I hope that some of these people like Brock from Blockchain knows, like last time he was on the podcast being like, oh, hey, I started this Feesh thing and didn't know where it would go. And now surprised, he's being very humble saying now I'm standing shoulder to shoulder with Disney on this same app. And I think he deserves it 100%, but there is he understands that not everyone can do that. And it's just a privilege to be here. You know, like when you're in the Olympics, okay, even if you lose, even coming dead last, you're at least there. You're, you know, that is better than I think anyone else can ever dream of. So yeah, moving on. Darth Chaos says Frank just wants people to stop messaging him. That's on the community. He has a point. I agree. Trust me, I get it. But it would be much easier to go and just pin a tweet to the top of your Twitter and be like, hey guys, and like I said before, this is we have great ideas that we want to do for rabbit breeding. The official probably wants to do it as well, just waiting for the okay from them, and then that's it. And just pin that, saying, you know, please stop DMing me. Carlos, what up? Oh, Woes, has people bought into rumors and complain when it doesn't happen? Oh, it's the same story. This says, I'll never buy a Frank NFT. I think Labbits are cool. I like Labbits. I don't know. That's just me. Some people don't. Some people go for the other stuff. Carlos Castro says Frank Goat. Woes says he should talk to you privately. That's terrible. I mean, I imagine they'll have words afterwards. Bobby says, Jesus Christ, Frank. Says, we got Spider-Man and Disney. Labs can take it back shelf. Yeah. Okay, says, and that guy about his 2FA. Oh my god, I know. Like, can we vet these questions, please? Darth Chaos says, she's. Sub-Zero says, this is happening now. Carlos Astron says, these questions that are being asked are not good. All right, you want to know what mine would have been? You know, that I had this idea kind of in there. And, you know, because he works with developers, he's the product guy. You need the developers to do the product. I would say, okay, well, Google, Meta, and Twitter, up until recently, has had talent wars in which they offer inflated salaries, massive perks, and time off in order to secure said talent. How does Veve plan to stay competitive in an ever-changing market? Or do you think that these companies are wrong for doing this because now you have a generation of developers that are all play, no work, and that's the reason why there are always delays in tech? Which, you know, like, and again, I don't want to pat myself on the back here, but would you rather have that question from somebody that, you know, works so intimately with our developers, or would you rather have, yeah, my 2FA is not working, and you know, can we, like, I feel like this is such a wasted opportunity, and I get it. You don't always want to hear from the same people each time. The last few videos that I've done, last 6 videos, not this one, the last 6, there was only one of them that got 1,000 views. So clearly people are getting tired of the real Randy Chavez, either that or it's the YouTube algorithm that's going out and saying, oh, hey, you didn't post for a week, so we're not going to push your YouTube. I guess that's possible as well. But, you know, and I get it. You don't want to hear from the same old mules all the time. You don't want to hear, you know, you want to get new people up there. Some people could have really good questions. But can we vet them, please? Sorry. Moving on. Bobby says, lessons learned, don't let random people up. And if it was just, I feel like Jeopardy has this issue where they just have these old people as their, you know, love Alex Trebek, you know, obviously respect to him always for what he did, but it's just every single other host that they would have for Jeopardy, they would kind of skip over the meme questions. They would skip over like the pop culture references that you would get if you're under the age of 40. And it's just like, I feel like, you know, and I get it, you can't be on Twitter and on Veve every day for the people that work at Veve because you have work to do. But you should just know that, hey, if somebody makes a new Twitter every single day that has Pepe the Frog in it, they're probably a troll. They're probably someone that you don't want to let up here. And I feel like, and again, this is such a low priority because how many times do they do spaces? You know, you just have to deal with that. But just one person be like, hey, here, your job is to just keep us informed on the new languages, the new, like, whatever, new memes, whatever, just so that they don't go through that, just because that could have saved them a lot of time. And again, you know, if you're on an earnings call and you have somebody let up to speak, you better make, like, again, that public companies do. If you're Tesla, if you're Apple, if you're, you know, Illumina, Lemonade, Disney, you better make damn sure that person that's speaking is not doing this. Like, how unprofessional. Like, thank God there was not too many people in there with a lot of followers. The only, outside of Dan Chaubel that has a couple 100,000. Let me show you who else was in there. I think I might have screenshotted it. Let me check. Did I do it? I don't think I did. No, I didn't. I don't know why I didn't. I could have sworn I did. But you had Willie Rex. Oh yeah, here we go. You had Willie Rex in there, right? Okay. Well, okay. I see. He looks like a gamer. Who is Willie Rex? I'm gonna heckin' tell you. Willie Rex is a. I got hair in my mouth. Okay. Willie Rex is a YouTuber that happens to follow me, but he has 8.6 million followers on Twitter. This is not a good look. If he was listening, they're like, oh, hey, let's check out what Veve is. And suddenly he hears like F you, Alex, and shouting out a Telegram bot chat. Like, that could have potentially cost Veve. I don't know. Let's say 8.6 million followers on Twitter. How many subs on YouTube? 18.5 million subs on YouTube. That could have potentially cost them tens of millions of new users, because maybe now Willie Rex will be like, okay, yeah, they need to sort their stuff out first. I don't want to support them right now. I don't want to make videos on it right now. Like, and again, Veve could go and talk to somebody that probably has more subscribers and more, influence or whatever. But, like, how many of them are they going to have to pay for versus how many people might do that for free? Yeah. Anywho, moving on. I'm kind of glad they just do videos now. Community questions are always hit or miss. Yeah. This says, like every AMA ever. It says, people need to chill, come back on a year, and enjoy. Yeah, you could also do that. Tokenomicon says, what about cash out for restricted countries? We are users for the last 2 years, and we cannot cash out. I mean, that has nothing really to do with Veve. That's just the countries. I don't know what other things that you could do outside of like, hey, I'll give you, I'll sell all my stuff or whatever. Like, I'll buy, like, you say, hey, Chavez, I'll buy your $3 Mighty for 60 gems. Just give me, $50. That's like the only thing that I could think to do. But again, that's not anything that Veve can help with. That's just something that you could have to do as far as. All right. Also, I gotta advertise this thing on StreamYard here. Review on YouTube. And let me advertise the one with Lori here. Or I could send Lori the link first. And invite guests, copy. Where's the Twitter? All right, Lori Brenner, where you at, girl? Where you at, Queen Veve? Okay, paste. See you in 2 hours. Meow. I just gotta respond to this message real quick. Oh Jesus. Oh Jesus. Oh double Jesus. How many heckin' messages? Okay, all right. All right. Then you have Sergio going on Facebook. Today's Veve Spaces highlights MCP delayed again. Frank Kozik owns Veve team, frustrated about lack of features, project implementation. That is all. What a hacker! Like, you don't go and say like, oh hey, the reasons for MCP. Jesus. So Minnesota NFTs that wound up speaking says, listen to Mitch M. I like the transparency and clarity he's sharing behind timeline-related issues. There's a lot happening in the background, and the team needs to prioritize that, what's most important to Veve and community, sometimes at the cost meeting their timing commitments. And chat is exactly what we need to level set expectations across the community to understand what Veve faces internally. Love for the Veve team to continue hosting spaces like this at Rev Street. Great work posing the questions. I'll question that. And Patient Hodler says, I have no problem at all with a couple of weeks delay of MCP. Price will stay in the trash as long as money is expensive and crisis is raging in Veve fam. This is the best time to build and hodl. So yeah. Okay, hold on. Involved. Okay, sorry. Oh, also, I'll do a video on it, I think tomorrow. But you have what they've been giving away on their giveaways. Like, they're giving away like Marvel Secret Rares. I guarantee they give away a logo at some point. Kyle Willson. Oh, is he on? Is he live too? Oh, that's great if he's live too. Oh my god. All right. Anyhow, moving on here. So I need to screen these people and their questions before letting them in the space to take it up the space. Yep. There's pros and cons of that. Yeah. Bill Gardner, what up, fam? How you doing? Color Castron says good questions. For me, if I was up, NFT digital displays, when digital, when we'll be getting to that next year. Rizdan says at Justin True. Blockchain Comics is Randy. Looks like in total disbelief what's going on. No, I mean this is fair. Like again, to go back to my last few videos, I expected MCP to be delayed. I didn't expect to be delayed by a year. I said, you know, we'll probably get it next month in January. And he said weeks. I really wish he would said, you know, 2 weeks or 12 weeks. You know, but I'd imagine next month, at the very least at some point next quarter. Who knows when. It says Veve resting in the hands of Mitch. I mean, some of it. Eldorado says, Coke truck. Yeah, Coke truck. Darth Chaos, they were talking about the Battlestar Galactica airdrop. That wasn't paying promised in November. No, it was. Crypto paying was promised this month. And again, we'll get it next month. Bobby talking smack about Sergio. Go says, Randy, the real problem is that they promised something one day, like Dan did. He made a serious promise. And once again, they failed. That's the real problem. Again, this is tech. Some things are delayed by years because they're new technologies, because there's things that, hey, we should be done by this point. Oh, this unforeseen thing happened to come up, and now we're like, again, it's the, you know, the unexpected. You have to expect that unexpected. So I really would like timelines if they expect, hey, we're going to get something done by Q2 of next year. Don't say Q2, say Q4. Hey, we're going to get something done by the end of next year, and this way if it comes early, people are surprised. Like that's what I wish would happen, because you know, instead of having people happy that we're getting it at all, they're pissed off that they're not getting it when they thought they would get it. It's like, okay, do you guys not expect this by now? Like this needs to be expected. Bill Gar says I can wait another 2 weeks, and again, we don't know if it's going to be 2 weeks. It could be 12 weeks. It could be 6 weeks. It will most likely be next quarter though. But says he's not promising, knowing it's gonna ship late. He's obviously thought it would be done by then. Stuff happens in development. We as a community need to stop acting like spoiled kids. Agreed. Lagarde says I'd rather it work than put out something that doesn't. Also agreed 100%. Nozakina says, wow, I haven't heard that in forever. Heard what in forever? What were we talking about? What was it, 41? What were we talking about 20 minutes ago? Blockchain Comics says Frank was legit. He said what he said. He definitely he said what he said. You know, not really a good idea to air out, you know, dirty laundry, but you know, he said what he said. Hashtag is once again pivoting a company from a startup app to more established app that can take on mass adoption is not a small task. Throughout this process, small things can break, which delays things. Yeah, perfect explanation. So it says, did you want to talk really bad because you're afraid of negative sentiment? No, I want to talk because I have good questions. Then says, I thought Akomi's market cap was in the millions. It's in the hundreds of millions. A little over, maybe 200 million-ish, a little over 200. It says we got at least 12 months of bear market, plenty of time for Veve to build. Yeah, probably. I mean, I do think 6 to 9 months, you know, give or take. I think Q4 next year will start to bring back bull market. News Now Marijuana is a new drop announced. Yes, I agree. Coke. Robert says, did they mention crypto pay-in too? They tried to bring it at Christmas. It'll probably be next month as well. Only Panda says Dashi did those 2 Walt drops. Let's not forget about that. So, Dashi's got a plethora of things that not everyone is, what's that called? But not everyone is privy to. Maybe I think just tweeted. Well, since lighting up the small screen in a TV ads in the mid-1990s, the Coca-Cola Christmas truck has signaled the start of the festive season for nearly 3 decades. Drops Wednesday, December 21st at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I think I retweeted that though, right? Yeah, I did. I don't know why that tweet's just coming in now. Oh, geez. All right. Comey tweets, not sure how to safely store your OMI. The token portal has you covered. Just retweet that real quick. All right. And again, I do have a new podcast coming out with Lori Brenner in T minus 2 hours. T minus 1 hour, 56 minutes ish seconds. I first appeared in Semi Truck. Yay! Alex says Veve needs to unlock more capital to expand dev team. I'd like that too. I again, kind of raise money when you don't need it. They don't need it, but yeah, I wish they would be a little more loose with their, like, not as cheap, because they are frugal. But let's face it, they don't spend near as much money as they could. But again, they didn't become this successful by listening to people like me. So we'll see. Could he run over people with the semi truck in the Veveverse? Oh, I hope so. Justin says he did Pepe dirty. He did. Only Band is laughing. Empty Hero says people are not even aware that the metadata is only about 60% completed. Yeah, because if you put on, and you could do it with, if you go on the app or the web app and you get your OMI address. If you get your OMI address and you go and you could put it into a Mutascan, and it shows like half of what you have, maybe 60% of what you have. Like, let's say I have like 70 Lady Deadpools. It might show that I have 35. It might show, like, instead of my 39 Queen Ramondas, it might show like 18 or 28 or something like that. But yeah, you're right. Only Panda says Pepe now has a BK bankruptcy. NFT Hero says missing lots of important information as well. Yeah, again, and that'll get better, but it'll just take some time. Justin's Twitter space quality control. And Duck and Cover says, I'd be more worried about his followers hearing Frank Kozak speak personally. There. Dud says, so is that guy going to be spamming in the Veveverse? Maybe. We'll see. Wubba says, I'm sure you can get banned in the Veveverse too. Probably. Dud says the trolls could have a heyday. Mm-hmm. Only Panda says, maybe Pepe can file a defamation of character lawsuit. Maybe. Empty Heroes says, Duck and Cover agreed. Oboa says, we need first appearance Pepe. Oh, God, that'd be great. Pepe. Sad Frog. Justin says, I would buy Pepe, no hesitate. Yeah, I would too. Pepe. Oh, we love Pepe. Dive Jedi says, it rather annoys me that Alex turns everything into a joke. He either laughs things away or he makes inappropriate jokes. I mean, what else do you want him to do? Like, someone comes on and, starts saying F you and kick him off and be like, oh, always one of those guys. I probably would have handled it the same way. Now, Jed said the MCP delayed tweet. Oh, that's what you meant. Okay, yeah, that MCP delayed tweet of him didn't age well. Yeah, that, if that's what you're talking about, definitely shouldn't have done that. But we all make mistakes. Dive Jedi says, and then he wants Mitch to apologize to him. Alex should apologize to us. I mean, there's a reason Alex got the job. It's not because he sucks. Like, I'm sure he got the job because he was qualified, and I'm sure he got the job because they saw value in him. And if they thought that he wasn't doing a good enough job, I'm sure they'd fire him. But because he's still employed, the people at Veve must assume that he is doing a good enough job. And I don't know how much they get paid. Probably, if Veve said, "Hey, Randy, you're well loved in the community, we'll hire you to take Alex's place," I would say, "Heck no." Again, I don't know what he gets paid. For all of the crap that he deals with, it's probably not enough. It's probably, I have worked too hard and worked for too many other things to go and, one, have a boss again, and two, like, I just shout out to Alex for doing everything he does for, whatever he makes. I don't know, because this cannot be easy. That cannot be easy at all. Does he make mistakes? Sure. So does everybody. It's again, if Veve thought that he was a net negative, they'd let him go, but he's there, so he's obviously a net positive. Yeah. Rickard Brahma says, Randy, no new things this year from Veve. There's been a lot of new things this year from Veve. That Jedi says he was joking about Battlestar Galactica. Okay, yeah, he shouldn't do that, but again, take the good with the bad, do it all, pile on the years. Does he do some things that in hindsight aren't the best? Sure, it's everyone. But the yeah, we just got to deal. That's got to be an internal issue they have to handle themselves. It's not something we as a community can go and picket and demand. Because again, there are probably only so many issues that we know about. There are probably much more issues that he has to deal with in the background that just doesn't let us know because he's protecting us from that. Anyway, that's it for me. I have a podcast in about 2 hours. I'm gonna go try to make something to eat. Try to go do some other stuff. I'll try to do a video later, maybe. I don't know. I did a video on Earth 2 before. I've been averaging about 2 to 3 videos a day. So I'll keep this up because this YouTube algorithm is brutal. Digest a joke for fun, be serious when necessary. Agreed. All right, I love you all. Thank you all for coming by. Everyone say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. I love you guys. Go back. Meow, 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 meow.